it was a joy watching you transform into your uncle right before our eyes.
2 nights ago, Jaafar Jackson stepped onto one of the biggest stages in entertainment, and within seconds, the entire room seemed to hold its breath. He wasn't there to perform a moonwalk. He wasn't there to sing. He was simply there to present an award. But what unfolded next became one of the most talked about moments of the night, and it had nothing to do with the trophy. Before Jaafar could even begin speaking, his own co-star turned toward him and delivered words so heartfelt that the audience instantly erupted into applause. For a brief moment, it didn't feel like Hollywood anymore. It felt deeply personal. Cameras captured every expression. Fans flooded social media with emotional reactions, and clips from the stage began spreading across the internet within minutes. But that wasn't the only surprise. Behind this emotional appearance was an even bigger story that few people saw coming. The Michael biopic had just achieved a historic milestone, becoming one of the biggest biographical films ever released. Suddenly, Jaafar wasn't just representing a movie, he was carrying the legacy of one of the most influential entertainers in history onto one of television's biggest stages. Then came the speech. A few simple words about Michael Jackson, gratitude, and family struck a powerful emotional chord with viewers around the world. Fans called it one of the night's most genuine moments. Others said it proved why Jaafar had earned the role in the first place. What really happened on that BET Awards stage? And why are millions of people still talking about those few unforgettable minutes? Let's break down every moment. The moment Jaafar Jackson walked onto the BET Awards stage, something unusual happened. It wasn't loud. It wasn't flashy. There were no elaborate dance routines, no surprise musical performance, and no dramatic entrance designed to dominate social media. Yet within minutes, that appearance became one of the most talked about moments of the entire ceremony. Why? Because everyone watching understood they weren't simply looking at another actor promoting another movie. They were looking at the man who had accepted one of the most difficult responsibilities in modern Hollywood, bringing Michael Jackson to life on screen. For months, audiences around the world had debated one question. Could anyone possibly portray the King of Pop? Millions had opinions before seeing a single finished scene. Some believed no actor should even attempt it. Others argued that only someone from the Jackson family could truly understand the responsibility.
For the love you all showed to our movie. You guys had the theaters packed. We're truly so humbled. Your support means the world to the Jackson family.
Portraying Katherine Jackson reminded me that grace is quiet and still. And tonight we honor that. Jaafar, it was a joy watching you transform into your uncle right before our eyes.
Jaafar Jackson suddenly found himself standing directly in the middle of that conversation. And now, he was walking onto one of entertainment's biggest stages. The atmosphere inside the venue already carried enormous energy. Some of music's biggest stars filled the audience. Award winners celebrated career-defining moments. Fans watching from home expected another unforgettable night. Few realized one of the evening's most emotional moments wouldn't involve a performance at all. Jaafar wasn't standing there alone. Beside him was Nia Long, the acclaimed actress portraying Michael Jackson's mother, Katherine Jackson, in the upcoming film. Their appearance seemed straightforward. Present an award. Read the nominees. Announce the winner. Simple. Except it didn't unfold that way. Before they reached the announcement, Nia Long turned toward Jaafar and addressed him directly in front of the entire audience. Her words immediately changed the atmosphere. She spoke about portraying Katherine Jackson and reflected on what the experience had meant to her. Then she told Jaafar it had been a joy watching him transform into his uncle right before her eyes. The audience responded instantly. Applause echoed throughout the theater. It wasn't simply another compliment between co-stars. It felt personal, authentic, emotional. Those few seconds quickly became one of the most replayed moments from the ceremony because viewers weren't watching scripted Hollywood banter. They were watching someone who had worked closely with Jaafar publicly acknowledge the extraordinary effort behind his performance. That reaction carried weight. Nia Long wasn't commenting as a fan watching trailers. She had shared scenes with him. She had witnessed the preparation firsthand. Her perspective came from experience rather than speculation. Almost immediately, clips of that exchange began circulating online. Fans shared the video across multiple platforms. Comment sections filled with emotional reactions. Many viewers focused on Jaafar's expression as he listened. Others praised Nia's sincerity. Entertainment outlets highlighted the interaction as one of the evening's standout moments. The conversation spread far beyond the award itself. Suddenly, attention shifted back toward the film everyone had been waiting to see. How convincing would Jaafar's performance really be? Could he carry the emotional weight of portraying one of the most influential entertainers in history? Those questions had followed the project from the beginning. Jaafar himself has spoken publicly about the preparation involved. Rather than relying only on choreography, he described immersing himself in Michael Jackson's world from the very beginning. He listened through Michael's music chronologically, starting with the Jackson 5 before moving through the solo albums. He studied interviews. He watched performances repeatedly. He even explored the kinds of films and creative influences Michael enjoyed, explaining that he wanted everything to become second nature before cameras started rolling. His goal wasn't simply to imitate movements. It was to understand the person behind them. That distinction mattered. Many people can copy dance steps. Far fewer can communicate personality. That challenge became central to his preparation. As more interviews appeared throughout the film's production, another pattern became clear. Whenever Jaafar discussed the role, he rarely focused on fame or attention. Instead, he consistently returned to the responsibility he felt toward honoring his uncle's legacy. That perspective became especially noticeable during the BET Awards. Later that evening, he reflected on the overwhelming support audiences had shown the movie and said he hoped Michael would be smiling from above. The statement resonated with many fans. It shifted attention away from box office numbers and back toward the emotional reason the project existed in the first place. Then another remarkable milestone entered the conversation. Around the same period, reports confirmed that the Michael biopic had reached extraordinary commercial success, becoming one of the highest-grossing biographical films ever released. The achievement immediately became another major headline. Entertainment reporters wanted to know how Jaafar felt about the historic accomplishment. His answer surprised many people. Rather than speaking about personal success, he redirected the attention toward Michael himself. He explained that he was simply happy for Michael because of the enormous influence his uncle had on generations of artists and audiences. For many viewers, that answer reinforced the impression they had formed throughout the promotional campaign. Jaafar wasn't trying to make the story about himself. He consistently brought the conversation back to Michael's legacy. That approach earned praise from many fans following the film. Meanwhile, another interview with Nia Long added even more emotional context. She explained that portraying Katherine Jackson had become a deeply meaningful experience and spoke warmly about working alongside Jaafar. She even affectionately referred to him as "my baby," joking that whether he liked it or not, he had another mother. The audience laughed. But underneath the humor was genuine affection. Their relationship appeared to extend beyond ordinary professional courtesy. It reflected the family dynamic they had spent months portraying on screen. That emotional connection became one of the reasons so many viewers responded strongly to their appearance together at the BET Awards. What initially looked like a routine presenter segment gradually revealed itself as something much more significant. It wasn't about celebrity glamour. It wasn't about publicity. It was about recognizing the emotional journey behind one of Hollywood's most closely watched performances. And just when fans thought that unforgettable stage appearance had revealed everything, another series of interviews would uncover even more about the preparation, the pressure, and the responsibility Jaafar carried long before he ever stepped under the bright lights of the BET Awards. As the applause inside the theater finally settled, it became clear that Jaafar Jackson's appearance had accomplished something very few award show moments ever managed to do. It made people stop talking. Not because of controversy, because of emotion. For several seconds, the cameras remained fixed on Jaafar as he stood beside Nia Long, absorbing the unexpected praise she had just delivered in front of an audience filled with some of entertainment's biggest names. That reaction wasn't rehearsed. It wasn't part of an elaborate performance. It came from someone who had spent months watching him prepare for one of the most demanding roles in modern cinema. For viewers watching at home, the exchange lasted only a few moments. For people who had followed the production from the beginning, it represented the culmination of years of work. Behind every public appearance stood an extraordinary amount of preparation. Long before stepping onto the BET Awards stage, Jaafar had spoken openly about how he approached portraying Michael Jackson. Rather than relying only on choreography, he immersed himself completely in Michael's creative world. He listened to every album in chronological order, beginning with the Jackson 5 and continuing through Michael's solo career. He studied interviews repeatedly. He watched performances from different decades. He paid attention to subtle changes in posture, movement, and speech. His objective wasn't simply to recreate famous performances. It was to understand the person behind them. That distinction became central to everything audiences would later see on screen. As more promotional interviews appeared, another theme consistently emerged. Jaafar rarely spoke about himself. Instead, he repeatedly redirected attention toward Michael's legacy. That humility became one of the qualities many fans noticed first. While journalists asked about acting techniques, preparation, and career opportunities, Jaafar often returned to the same message. This project wasn't just another movie. It was an opportunity to honor someone who had influenced generations of artists around the world. That perspective became even more evident after the film reached an extraordinary milestone. Reports confirmed that the Michael biopic had become one of the highest-grossing biographical films ever released. Industry analysts described the achievement as historic. Entertainment programs dedicated entire segments to discussing the numbers. Social media celebrated the record-breaking performance. Everyone wanted the same reaction from Jaafar. How did it feel? His answer surprised many people. Rather than celebrating personal success, he expressed happiness that Michael's story had connected with audiences around the world. He explained that the overwhelming support meant everything not only to him, but also to the Jackson family. Those comments resonated with fans. The conversation shifted away from financial records and toward something much more meaningful. Legacy, recognition, respect. Shortly afterward, Jaafar shared behind-the-scenes photographs from the production on social media. Alongside the images, he thanked audiences for embracing the film and wrote that he believed Michael would be smiling about the achievement. The post quickly attracted enormous attention. Thousands of comments appeared within hours. Fans shared their favorite moments from the movie. Others praised Jaafar's performance. Many described feeling unexpectedly emotional after watching the film. The response demonstrated something remarkable. People weren't simply celebrating a successful movie. They were celebrating the emotional connection they felt with the story. Meanwhile, Nia Long continued speaking warmly about her experience working alongside Jaafar. During interviews, she described watching his transformation from the earliest stages of filming. She explained that seeing him gradually become Michael Jackson was unlike anything she had witnessed before. She even joked that he had gained another mother during production because of the protective bond they developed while portraying members of the Jackson family. The audience laughed, but the affection behind those words felt genuine. Their chemistry wasn't manufactured for publicity. It reflected months of collaboration built during filming. That authenticity became one of the reasons their BET Awards appearance attracted so much attention. Viewers weren't watching strangers sharing a stage. They were watching two actors whose professional relationship had grown into genuine admiration. As clips from the ceremony continued circulating online, entertainment commentators highlighted another interesting detail. Jaafar never attempted to dominate the spotlight. Despite appearing on one of television's biggest stages, his demeanor remained calm and composed. Many viewers interpreted that quiet confidence as fitting for someone carrying such an enormous responsibility. The internet responded positively. Fans praised his humility. Others commented on how naturally he represented the Jackson family's legacy during the event. Discussion quickly expanded beyond the awards themselves. People began asking larger questions. What comes next? Will the story continue? During interviews, Jaafar acknowledged that Michael Jackson's life contains far more history than any single film could capture. He suggested there were still many chapters left to explore, noting that fitting such an extraordinary life into one movie was nearly impossible. Those comments immediately fueled excitement among fans. Speculation about future projects spread rapidly across entertainment websites. Although nothing had been officially confirmed beyond early discussions, audiences clearly wanted more. The BET Awards appearance suddenly became more than a celebration. It felt like another chapter in a much larger journey, one that began years earlier with an ambitious casting decision, continued through countless hours of preparation, reached audiences around the world through the film, and now stood before millions of viewers on one of entertainment's biggest stages. Yet, despite the applause, the emotional speeches, and the historic success, one question continued following Jaafar everywhere he went. What does life look like after carrying the legacy of Michael Jackson? Because stepping onto the BET Awards stage may have been a defining public moment, but what came afterward would reveal just how profoundly this journey had changed him. As the BET Awards came to a close, the applause eventually faded. The cameras moved on. The presenters left the stage. Another award was announced. For most viewers, it was simply another memorable television moment. For Jaafar Jackson, it represented something much bigger. It marked the end of a journey that had taken years to reach one unforgettable evening. Because standing under those bright lights wasn't simply about presenting an award. It was about representing a film that carried extraordinary expectations from the very beginning. Long before audiences watched the finished movie, questions surrounded every aspect of the production. Could anyone convincingly portray Michael Jackson? Would longtime fans accept the performance? Could a member of the Jackson family carry such enormous responsibility without being overwhelmed by expectations? Those questions followed the production through every stage. Casting announcements, behind-the-scenes photographs, first-look trailers, press interviews. Every new glimpse generated another wave of discussion. By the time the BET Awards arrived, millions of people had already formed opinions. Then something remarkable happened. Instead of trying to answer critics through speeches or interviews, Jaafar allowed his work to speak for itself. That approach became one of the defining themes of the entire promotional campaign. He consistently avoided making bold claims. Instead, he focused on gratitude. Gratitude for the opportunity. Gratitude toward audiences. Gratitude toward his family. Most importantly, gratitude toward Michael Jackson's legacy. That perspective became especially clear during his public appearances following the film's success. Whenever journalists asked about records, milestones, or commercial achievements, Jaafar repeatedly redirected attention toward the impact Michael Jackson had made on music, entertainment, and culture. For many fans, that humility became one of the most memorable aspects of his journey. Because in an industry often dominated by self-promotion, his interviews consistently emphasized respect over recognition. That impression only grew stronger after the movie achieved historic box office success. Entertainment analysts described the accomplishment as unprecedented for a musical biopic. News outlets around the world reported on the milestone. Social media celebrated the achievement. Yet Jaafar's message remained remarkably consistent. He thanked audiences. He thanked the Jackson family. He expressed hope that Michael would be proud. Those comments resonated deeply with fans. Across social media, viewers shared clips from his interviews alongside moments from the BET Awards. Many praised the quiet confidence he displayed on stage. Others highlighted the emotional exchange with Nia Long as one of the ceremony's most heartfelt moments. The response continued growing for days. Not because of controversy, because people connected with sincerity. As conversations surrounding the film expanded, another important theme emerged. Many viewers began discussing the enormous challenge of portraying someone whose influence stretched far beyond music. Michael Jackson wasn't simply a performer. He became one of the most recognizable entertainers in history. Every generation seemed to have its own memories connected to his music. Every fan carried different expectations. Trying to satisfy all of them was never going to be easy. Perhaps that was why Jaafar's preparation attracted so much attention. He had openly explained the extensive research he undertook before filming, listening through Michael's complete musical catalog, studying interviews, observing performances, learning subtle mannerisms, understanding creative influences. His objective was never merely to resemble Michael. It was to understand him. That dedication became visible not only in the finished film, but also in the way people who worked alongside him described the experience. Nia Long's words at the BET Awards reflected months of first-hand observation. She wasn't commenting on trailers or promotional clips. She had witnessed the transformation during production itself. Her praise carried a unique credibility because it came from someone sharing scenes with him every day. For audiences watching the ceremony, that brief exchange became a window into everything that happened behind the cameras. It reminded viewers that filmmaking is built on thousands of quiet moments long before audiences ever see the final product. Then another conversation began appearing online. What comes next for Jaafar Jackson? After carrying such an iconic role, where does an actor go from there? It's a question many performers face after portraying legendary figures. Some spend years escaping comparisons. Others embrace the association. Jaafar has indicated that while portraying Michael became one of the defining experiences of his career, he also looks forward to continuing his own artistic journey. That balance may ultimately become one of the most fascinating chapters of his story, honoring the past while building the future. As the BET Awards footage continues circulating online, one image remains especially memorable. Not a dance move, not a dramatic speech, not a record-breaking announcement. Simply two actors standing on stage, acknowledging months of hard work and celebrating a story that meant far more than entertainment alone. Sometimes the biggest moments aren't created by elaborate productions. Sometimes they happen when genuine respect becomes visible for everyone watching. Looking back, the BET Awards appearance wasn't important because it generated headlines. It mattered because it reflected everything the film had been trying to accomplish from the beginning. Honor a legacy, celebrate extraordinary artistry, and remind audiences why Michael Jackson's influence continues to reach new generations. The applause inside the theater eventually stopped. The lights dimmed. The ceremony moved on. But for many viewers, those few minutes on stage became one of the night's most memorable reminders that behind every major film are years of preparation, dedication, and a group of people committed to telling a story they believed deserved to be remembered. And perhaps that is what made Jaafar Jackson's appearance resonate long after the credits rolled on the BET Awards. Not because it was the loudest moment of the evening, but because, in a room full of stars, it became one of the most heartfelt. If this story gave you a whole new perspective on Jaafar Jackson's incredible journey, then this is only the beginning. Every interview, every appearance, and every behind-the-scenes moment continues to reveal just how much dedication went into honoring one of the greatest entertainers of all time. Now we want to hear from you. Did Jaafar Jackson earn your respect with his performance and public appearances? What was your favorite moment from the BET Awards? Share your thoughts in the comments below because we'd love to know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss the biggest celebrity stories, exclusive behind-the-scenes moments, and the headlines everyone will be talking about tomorrow. Turn on notifications because the next major entertainment story could break at any moment, and you don't want to be the last to hear about it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.